Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. Today we got a clip from Anthony Pompiano and Jordy Visser. They're talking about the issues going on with China and rare earths and the possibility of emergency rate cuts and kind of how this whole thing plays out in the broader scope or scheme of things. So let's play this clip where Anthony kind of preferenced it with the question about kind of like how Jordy sees this entire kind of next chess move that China made, reference the rare earths, kind of putting a strong arm against like the globe in totality. Mainly, of course, it's for us, but it's like everybody is going to have to pay a tax, and we're limiting the amount that we're distributing. And China, I forgot how much of the total rare earth percentage, but like they are the global distributor. And it's not something you just go start digging up tomorrow to kind of get into the game with. So by China playing this, for lack of a better word, trump card, it's like, yeah, what does that do for the game being played now? Like the global chess moves, what's next? And that's where Jordy chimes in.
Yeah, so I view this as very positive for the rest of the world in the same way that Donald Trump got rid of this connection between, okay, you guys buy our military stuff. We are supportive of NATO. We contribute most of this. He's tried to rebalance that. The manufacturing side is going to overbuild around the globe. So the one thing I do agree with, we are going to globally spend a lot of money building out things, which may eventually cause problems down the road in terms of a lot of resources that were, let's just say, bad money spent building out things. But that process is going to take years, whether it's data centers, whether it's fighting with military and believing that this military is going to be here in 3 years. Everyone now has to build their own manufacturing. They can't depend on China. The supply chains and kind of depending on you have to be reshoring. And everyone's doing that. Germany announced that they're going to do it with their military. The US is obviously doing it. Every country is kind of at the big side. And it's really Europe. And to go back to that $110 trillion global economy, China, US, and Europe combined as a group, I mean, that's 65% of it. So every other country broken up, it's small. Europe's going to reshore, China's going to reshore, and the US is going to reshore. So that manufacturing side, what the rare earth has done, the same way that the tariffs have done China, it is China's version of the tariffs. That's exactly what it is. You can't actually build anything for the next 3 years because you don't have rare earth. And oh, by the way, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a tariff on all of you. If you want to use rare earth in anything, we need to know what it is, and we have to give the clearance before you can do it. And that's what this whole thing is about. I don't think that that's something that can happen. And for people who want to go through, because I think Patrick covered this too, they did this to Japan in 2010. And it eventually went to the WTO and was ruled that it couldn't happen. And they gradually kind of took them off, or at least reduced them. So I think this thing is not going to go to that extreme, because I think this is a bargaining chip that they're going through. But they have set the precedent that they have done it before. And that's the reason why the US reacted so badly right after we spoke last week, is all of a sudden Trump freaked out. And I mentioned it, so it wasn't like it was new news. It had happened the day before, but the markets didn't care about it. And so the market started to freak out. What we talked about last week, if you go back, it wasn't just the rare earth and how important it was, but I also talked about the fact that
How's it there? Because that's an interesting way to preface that or phrase that, is that this is China's tariff card. So, and they have been the world, okay, more so for the US, but definitely a large producer of goods that get shipped everywhere, but definitely more for the US. So like what Jordy's saying is like, this is causing the bulk of that buying capital, i.e. Europe, China, and the US, to reshore. And that was what Trump ran on. It's like, we need to bring reshoring back to America. And the easy way to phrase that is, we need to basically make things at home. You cannot be dependent on someone else if they can cut your supply chain. Or like we saw with COVID, the whole world gets shut down and you have no access to certain things. And that's the big bargaining chip with rare earths. I mentioned this in another video. Rare earths are literally in every piece of tech, from computer chips to smartphones to satellites to missiles to military to fucking washing machines. They're in everything. So they're not rare at all because they're used in everything, but they are extremely toxic to the environment, difficult to mine. And China has put those things in place by throwing bodies at the problem 40 years ago, so they got this big surplus. This ties into Raoul Pal's everything code. The only way out of this, like he said, to reshore. This goes back to what Jack Ma was saying as well. Well, if you want to reshore, it's like, well, you got to spin up your birth rate. You need more people to work. You need to put people in coal mines or in factories. Well, newsflash, a lot of these Western countries, they don't want to do that shit. In comes the everything code from Raoul Pal. that means robots. What do you think Tesla's doing? Showing all of these, making all these new features and tweaks so that the robots are more humanoid and can do all of this stuff. This is all leading to the same thing. Mining for fucking gold on asteroids. And if Elon wants to terraform Mars, well, obviously humans can't be there, first of all. Robots will be the first ones there to do all this manual labor stuff. So it literally all ties together. So how does this play out? What happens now? Who knows? But it's not going to be an overnight kind of success story. That's what Jordy's explaining. It's like, okay, the cards are being laid out. We've got the tariff card from Trump. That's for the next 3 years and 3 months. And then China's like, well, you want to make anything tech related? We need to know what it's going into, and we need to approve it because we're tariffing or controlling the amount of exports on rare earths. You want to start mining your own? Go for it. But you're going to need to start digging and doing all that. And that won't be for like another 3 to 5 years. Till that time, we're going to control the ebb and flow.
Financial markets were kind of showing a lot of credit risk. We were seeing private equity stuff. We had the First Brands, we had the Tricolor. Well, now this week you get into it, you not only have the China thing, you have everyone freaking out about that stuff too. And it reached a level where we're clearly getting closer and closer to where the Fed's going to have to do something.
Mm-hmm. You think we can get an emergency rate cut?
No, that doesn't need to happen.
I agree. They should have emergency rate cut earlier this year, but I agree.
They're going to cut, and it's going to help. But like during the hangover that occurs when kind of markets start to go down for a little period of time, I just want to highlight to people, we have 10-year rates below 4%. Gas at the pump is probably going to break below 3 this weekend. So for everyone out there, gas at the pump peaked recently at around 3.20. If it breaks below 3, you're talking about close to a 10% fall. I can tell you right now, the CPI number is going to be a positive for the markets when it comes out with gas down here. I've highlighted in every one of my videos, until gas at the pump goes higher, you're getting another boom for the stock market. So you're getting lower rates, you're getting the Fed cutting rates, you're getting all of this, which is being helped by this plumbing situation. But so people understand, this is part of fiscal dominance. This is what you have to understand. I don't even know the best way to describe it because there's a lot of terms like SOFR, the standing repo facility. Let's just say you're a homeowner and all of a sudden you have a lot of bills coming at the same time and you're scrambling to get cash because you don't have enough cash sitting around. That's kind of where the financial system is right now in the US. There's a certain threshold level of where bank reserves need to be. And if it goes below that, the banks will have to kind of rush for cash and go through it. So there's been this pressure, which normally happens every quarter end, but it's happened now. And I think part of the reason it's happened now is because of the First Brands and Tricolor, which when you're really tight to the level, you end up with a lot of kind of people scrambling around. So all of a sudden, SOFR, which has to do with overnight, let's say collateral-backed securities, the spread has gotten extremely high, which says there's problems going on. Raoul Pal said this week, we're probably going to have to stop QT. So for everyone out there that's
got him
kind of freaking out, the problem is, guess what?
Checkmate.
You got the Fed, QT, they're buying the bonds from the Treasury, and the Treasury needs to issue lots of debt because the debt didn't get any better this year. So remember, when we started the year, there's a debt deficit, problem. We did Doge, all this stuff. Nothing has solved the problem. And so we have these revenues coming in on the tariff. That's all well and good. But we still have the Treasury issuing lots. And this gets back into the Michael Howell thing, which is...
So all of that to say that the money printer has yet to go burr and the liquidity has yet to be injected into the markets, which is why Bitcoin looks kind of flat. It's up this year and we're up about 30 to 40% from last year, this time frame. But it's not the blow off top that all the cyclists, not the ones riding bikes, but cyclists for the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theorists believe would happen by now. And this is something I'll bring up in another video, but it's like what Raoul Pal saying. It's like this has all been pushed further out because of stuff that Jordy's talking about and what's happened with the Fed balance sheet and the reverse repo and draining that liquidity. And they don't, right now, they're in a shutdown. So they can't spend anything. They have the money, but they have yet to be able to inject it. So, and along with us being in QT and yet to go into quantitative easing. So like all the cards, all the leverage, the deck is stacked. Like it's literally the Jenga house is waiting to fall, but somebody's holding it up right now. So a bunch of these different things are holding it up right now. So the TLDR is don't get shaken out, stay humble and stack sats because there is no other play at this stage. And like he mentioned right before this, when Pomp asked him, is there a need for emergency rate cuts? He's like, no, but the Fed will have to do something. It's because there's all of this pent up demand or house of cards fragility in the system that the only thing they can do, and this is what Raoul Pal's Everything Code is about, is like they have to juice the economy. They have to run it hot. They have to add more liquidity, whatever word you want to use, because it cannot continue down this path. It's unsustainable. So if you're going to reshore and drop rates, and do all these things, all that just means is money's coming in, liquidity goes higher, and that will flow into risk on assets like Bitcoin. And Bitcoin may evolve to be less of risk on and more of just a necessary hedge in a portfolio, which we're starting to see in with these Bitcoin treasury companies, sovereign wealth fund, nation states, US strategic reserve, all this stuff. So it's slowly maturing. And once it goes into all those as a fix, here's what we're going to do for the next 20 years, that's a wrap. Your ability to catch Bitcoin at the lows is gone. That 190, 80, 70 vol asset that you were likely investing in every 4 years, you're lucky to get a 50 vol. So, all right, that's all I got on this. Hope that provided some clarity. If it did, smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below. Until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible.